When his woman was rudely awakened by strange noises outside her house, he could have never known that a wild bear was causing them. The large furry animal was climbing upward into her neighbor's house. It was a terrifying sight, and what made it even more frightening was that, in the end, it turned out to be her fault as well. Moments later, the creature that caused the sound appeared above the fencing. It was a huge brown bear, the largest Ellie had ever seen. The animal used the wooden side panels on her neighbor's house to lift itself upward and was a meter high in seconds. What the hell, Ellie said while observing this scene. The image of the bear caused fear within Ellie's body. Ellie witnessed how the bear made it past the ground floor height with ease. It was clear that the woodland creature had a purpose since it shot straight to the house's only open window. Kid Ellie was forced to watch as the bear easily entered her neighbor's house. Until the bear disappeared from view, Ellie still hoped that the animal would lose its grip and fall down. But that was a story she could no longer tell herself. And Ellie knew her neighbor was still sleeping inside. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. This was horrible. Ellie just spoke to her neighbor yesterday evening. She was an older lady named Margaret, and the two women had a close friendship. But if that bear attacked her in her sleep, yesterday evening would have been their last conversation. Ellie was afraid to head inside, so she tried shouting first. Margaret! Ellie screamed as loud as she could, making her lungs burn because of it. But there was no response whatsoever from within Margaret's home. She had to go into the house herself to get Margaret. So after giving herself a quick pep talk, Ellie climbed over the fence and landed in her neighbor's garden. Ellie mustered courage and stepped inside. Ellie started her search but eventually found something far more bizarre than she had ever imagined. The first sign of the intruder's presence immediately presented itself. Growls came from the attic, but that didn't make Ellie feel safer standing downstairs in the hallway. The size of this house gave the bear plenty of places to hide, which made a surprise attack highly possible. And while Ellie's climbed the stairs, her thoughts lingered. Why did a 600-pound bear go through so much trouble to get inside? Did Margaret leave unsealed food lying around? Fear shot through Ellie's body again. She had to focus and find her neighbor as fast as she could. She knew where Margaret slept, so that was the first place she looked. Slowly, Ellie opened the door. Upon opening the door, Ellie immediately found her neighbor. Margaret was sitting in the corner of her room, shaking tremendously. "Margaret, are you hurt?" Margaret stated that she was fine. "I jumped back, hid in this corner, and have been afraid to move since," Margaret explained. Ellie nodded and said she witnessed the bear climbing through the hallway window. Where did it go? Margaret's finger was shaking heavily, but it was clear that she was guiding Ellie's gaze toward the attic staircase. Ellie sighed for a moment, but was also relieved. She came here to rescue her neighbor, and with the bear upstairs, they could easily make their escape. But this plan had one problem. Margaret revealed that their kittens were missing. The 4 kittens always nestled in her bed in the morning, but never arrived. The sounds were deep and loud, re-establishing the danger up there. She had to save the kittens, but did not want to be in any danger. Ellie's heart was pulsating like crazy. Ellie took a deep breath and gave herself one last pep talk before making the decision to visit the attic space. Maybe I don't need to enter the attic fully. We can escape fast and easily if I can lure the kittens toward me while standing in the doorway. Yes, that is the plan. Ellie never planned to be a hero, so avoiding conflict was her priority. She just needed to get everyone out of the house and into her garden. Ellie was about to enter the danger zone. The door to the attic was still open a smidge, giving her a way to look inside. The room was too dark to see, but Ellie didn't need her vision to confirm life. High-pitched meows were heard, followed by deep breaths, indicating that both animals were there. Ellie knew the 4 kittens well since she was the first to hold them after birth. Ellie knew she had to act fast, so at the risk of her own life, she opened the door fully. The attic was large, but a bear could easily cover this distance in seconds. Ellie looked around while the light in the hallway behind her illuminated parts of the floor. 2 kittens were running around. Heavy breathing of the bear and high-pitched meows came from the same direction. One thing at a time, Ellie thought as she tried to lure the first 2 cats. She made chirping sounds and placed her body low to the ground. It seemed to work at first because both kittens happily came her way. But the moment Ellie picked one of them up, a loud roar sounded. Seconds later, the brown bear stepped into the light. The young woman took a large step back, thinking her final moments on Earth were done for. But by doing so, she accidentally stepped over the edge of the staircase, making her fall backward. Ellie just managed to hold onto the railing in time, but after regaining, Ellie saw something bizarre. She was convinced that the bear must have attacked one of the kittens by now, but the opposite was true. The 4 cats weren't afraid at all and were playing around with the bear's legs, while the large furry animal looked at them calmly and kindly. And what the hell is going on? Ellie thought to herself. The bear took the cat back to the dark side of the attic, making them impossible to spot again. A scene that made Ellie curious, and that curiosity guided her next move. With trembling fingers, Ellie unlocked her phone and used the flashlight to illuminate the attic. And that's when Ellie saw it. Ellie witnessed the bear sitting calmly on her behind, liking the 4 kittens who were nestled in her lap. It was amazing to see, but it also provided an opportunity for Ellie and Margaret to escape. After realizing the kittens were safe for now, Ellie ran downstairs and opened the bedroom door. Margaret. Let's go. Margaret was confused since Ellie re-entered the room without their precious kittens. But Margaret's eyes widened when Ellie told the old lady about the scene she witnessed upstairs. Ellie didn't have time to explain things further. She grabbed her neighbor's arm and guided her down to the ground floor and out of the house. Ellie called a local rescue team. Luckily, there was one close by, which meant that a resolution was at hand, and after exactly 30 minutes, the team arrived. 2 men stepped out of the truck and introduced themselves as John and his son. We're happy that you called. John explained that they had known about the bear for a little over a week now. The large mammal had been spotted across town on multiple occasions, but they were too late to capture it every time. What the sanctuary owner then revealed left Ellie in shock. It was a revelation that explained everything. Is the bear alone in the attic? Or are there 4 kittens with her? Ellie was confused. She told John about the bear being stuck up there but never mentioned anything about kittens. So how could he possibly know this fact? Every time the bear was spotted, the kittens were by her side, John stated. John stated that the bear took over the kittens' care from their original mother. They found their mother near the alleyway where Ellie gathered the 4 kittens. She was hit by a passing car and unfortunately passed away. And ever since, the bear took over and nurtured the kittens as if they were her own. John and Connor couldn't tell how the bear got into town, but multiple civilians saw her gathering food from dumpsters. Ellie couldn't believe it. When she found the kittens, the bear was nowhere to be seen. She was probably searching for food when I got to the alleyway. The bear located the house because it was searching for its unique family, and it went through all this trouble to get inside because it could hear its kittens' cries inside. Ellie felt a rush of guilt course through her body. She couldn't help but feel responsible for the entire thing, because she was the one who found the kitten on the street and took him in for adoption. If I just left them alone, none of this would have happened, Ellie said, crying. The sanctuary team and Margaret placed their hand on Ellie's shoulder and said there was no way she could have known. You tried to do the right thing, John said. After this, the team ventured inside the house. So after about 15 minutes, the house's back door opened and the 2 men stepped outside, pulling the 600-pound tranquilized bear on a mechanical stretcher. The cats ran out of the house shortly after. What will happen to the bear? Ellie asked. John explained that the sanctuary would be the bear's temporary home. We establish her health and prepare her for life in the forest again. Ellie was glad to hear that the 2 men had the best intentions and watched with a smile as they drove away. A few months passed when suddenly the phone rang. It was John and he sounded cheerful. He asked Ellie to come to the sanctuary. Margaret also got a call and was already waiting outside with the kittens. Once at the sanctuary, they were greeted by John and Connor. The bear was ready to be released, but they wanted to give her a final goodbye. Margaret and Ellie agreed fully and released the kittens into the enclosure. Everyone watched as the cats ran toward their adoptive mother. It was an incredible sight. Eventually, it was time to go, and the mother bear even let Ellie pick up the kittens, an indication that she accepted them.